Oh, hello Internet, Michael Garber here. Let me just go ahead and move this mic. Apparently, people online do not approve of my boom mic placement, so I'll move that down here this time. Keep him in the shot. So, hey guys, Michael Garber here. This is my follow-up tutorial to the last one, which was about commercial broadcast prep, which will, if you prep in the right way, will take you through to delivery and make that easier and more better. This one is going to be about logging in Final Cut 10. Which I know isn't really a sexy or exciting topic, and everyone has their methods for logging, but I just wanted to give you guys a couple tips and tricks and show you how I've done it on the past few jobs. So, like I said, it's not really the most exciting or the sexiest of topics, so I'm going to supplement this with downloadable, keyable, explosions. All right, let's dive right in. All right, so what we're going to start with here is a corporate documentary that was shot with 5 interviews. And I'm actually going to get out of Final Cut for a sec and move over to this document. Now, the thing with corporate documentaries that I found is that generally speaking, everyone is asked the same questions. And so in this specific scenario, for me, it makes sense to log the footage based on the question, because what I want to eventually do is group the questions together, and it's from that grouping that I want to do my cut downs. And they're most likely going to lead into each other. So person A starts talking about what they're enjoying most about their job at Garber Shop, which I don't know what isn't to enjoy about it. And then person B is going to lead in with, say, and I enjoy working at Garber Shop because Michael Garber gives great bonuses. I don't know. I'll think of a bonus to give out next year. So I was trying to figure out what was the best way to do that. And a lot of people use markers, which is great, but I prefer to mark a keyword range around the beginning of the answer and the end of the answer. And I kind of want to leave out the question. I'm really not going to use any of that stuff. So here's my method and how I work on that. So here's our cast of characters. We have Bello de Ball, Bumblebee Transformer Stein. He hates it when you get that wrong. Craig Bjatman, Sandor Clegane, and everyone's favorite, Sandy Jenkins. She's a real doll. Okay, so first off, this was shot with 2 cameras and turned into a multi-clip. We'll just peer inside the multi-clip really quick and we can see all these clips in there. And they've all been synced already. So notice here in the audio waveform, we have a lot of peaks and valleys, mountains and valleys here. And the interview subject's answer is more than likely within these peaks. So I already sort of have a visual cue as to where I need to be. You know, and honestly, there's really no quick way around this unless you're using a logging tool like Lumberjack. You really have to listen to the interviews and do the hard work here. But that said, I don't necessarily have to listen to the entire answer at this particular time. What I can do is group them together. So what I'll do here is, and I can't really play a lot of this back because unfortunately, you know, the footage is, I don't have the rights to it. So let's just say as I'm playing back, I'll play back a second here with the audio down. Let's see, we'll set that as our in, I'll turn skimming on, and I'll set that as an out, and I'll sort of play from the out point. And let's just say that that's the end of that question. Now, what I'll do for all of the answers is I will add a keyword with the word answer. So I'll just hit that. Control 1 is the shortcut for that. Okay, now I'm going to move forward, and we're listening to the next question. And I'll hit in and out. And I'll keep doing this and sort of dot this all the way through. And I'm really not even going to log it with any notes. I'm not going to know what the answers are right now. Once I'm done with that, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to the questions, and then I will copy and paste these questions into the notes field. So there's our first question and answer. And then there is our second one. And then we'll I generally like it just to be one sentence. So I'll just take that first sentence there and plop that in. Okay, so let's move over to my logged footage here. And what we can see in the interview section is, let's pull up her. There we go. So there's all of the questions in the notes field for the answer keyword. The answer keywords represent the beginning and end of her answer. So now why is this important? So now what we can do, once we've logged all of these, here we go, we can see everyone's got logs with the same questions, and they're all the exact same text because I've copied and pasted it. Now I can go into the answer keyword collection, and we just see a bunch of clips in here. And it may be a little bit confusing. If I select all these and hit the right arrow key, we see, you know, they've got their keyword on there for their name, and then they've got their answer there. So this doesn't really help us out right now because it's just a lot of answers by a lot of people. But what I can do now is using the search bar, I can filter. Now this is the cool part. So let's take this question here. What lifestyle benefits are there to living in New Jersey? And I will paste that in. And now what we've got here, I'll select all these and hit the left arrow key, is I'm able to whittle down just that answer. And not only that, I can select these, and then I'll just go ahead and right click and create a new compound clip. And I'm going to paste the name of the question into the compound clip. And what I actually want to do here is go back and find out what question number it is. So it was number 8. So I'm just going to call that 8. What lifestyle benefits are there to living in New Jersey? Hit enter, and that puts that into the interviews event here. Click on that, and now we've got all of the interviews strung out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So now what I can do is I can listen to all these questions together in a row, start repositioning them, figure out who leads into who, start doing my editing, and I'm working in compound clips at this point. And then, let's take another question here. What sort of Garber Shop affiliated community involvement have you engaged in during your time here? It's a good question. And it has to be in the answer keyword collection. We'll paste that. Craig was the only guy who answered that. Okay, well, you know, go ahead and we'll create a compound clip for him for that. That's number 4. Let's just find one more here. We'll go back to number 1. What do you enjoy most about Garber Shop? Move into the answer keyword collection, paste that, select everyone, Option G, paste that, add the number 1 up top, and you can see how now I'm working really fast because everything has been logged and I can group all of this stuff together. So I open that up, and again we see everything, all the clips that are in a row in this timeline here. And let's say that we've made our cuts and we move that there. Okay, now what I can do is I can take all of these, we'll sort by name here. We can take all of these compound clips and move them into our main timeline here. Just select those and hit E to edit those in. So once they're in there, now I can break them apart, Shift-Command-G. And now I can start listening to them down and moving my interviews around as such. And just doing a very quick edit. All right, so that is how I log interviews. I hope that that wasn't too confusing. I know not seeing the footage and not being able to really play it back, it may have been a little bit hard to follow, but I'm just protecting myself from getting sued here. So I hope that you're able to follow that. Okay guys, so here we are for the second part of the tutorial. And what I've got here is a commercial that was cut last year. This was actually the first commercial that I really spent a lot of time thinking about how I would log it. I wasn't able to use the notes to import, like Shot Notes wasn't available at that time. So this was done manually and also synced with Sync and Link. But for the most part, I logged all the scene take and notes manually. So I was trying to come up with some solutions to a couple problems that Final Cut 10 presents. And that problem for me was, how do I deal with subclipping? Because these shots were shot in series. And by series, what I mean is, click on this shot here, scene 1011 as it's slated at the beginning actually contains 3 different takes. And so those takes would be shot in series. So the director doesn't reslate each time. We would call those takes 101_1A, 1B, and 1C. I could break them apart into compound clips, but I didn't really want to work with compound clips. My goal here is that I wanted to work as cleanly as possible in Final Cut, and I wanted to challenge myself to see how far I could take the logging tools that are presented to me without having to do too many workarounds. I would have to create so many compound clips that I feel that it almost would have made the library more complicated than it needed to be. So again, here we can see this is the intro. Chris walks to the camera. It's a series and it's a full shot. Very easy. So now what I've done is I'm going to create a keyword collection based on scene. I will go ahead and expand this, and you can see that I've logged beginning of this take here after action, and it ends before cut, and here and here. And in the notes field, I've logged the shot number, which would be in this case 1A, 1B, and 1C. When we look into my scenes folder here, we see all these keyword collections, so 101 through 124. Now let's just focus on 101 here. When we're looking in the keyword collection now, we can see the number of takes that were done for each shot. But what we're not seeing right now is which one is 1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, we can guess that this second one is B, and that, you know, scene 101, shot 1 has 3 different versions within it. So we can find out which version it is by pulling it down, and now we see it in the notes field here. This may or may not be important to you, but where it is important is when you're editing. And we'll just zip that back up there, and we'll go ahead and add in a couple shots here. Create a cut here in this one here, and we'll just call this car spot. Okay, so I'll move that clip in there, and then that clip in there. And then what you see, I already have the timeline index open here. As we're editing along, let's go ahead and throw in, say, a couple clips there. Throw that clip in and say that clip in there. There we go. Now we're starting to populate our timeline. And when you're working with the director, and say the director says, I want to see shot 1B, and you're like, well, that is 1B, and then the director might say, I don't believe you, you can very quickly select that shot, open up the timeline index, and now we can see which one is 1B, 3A, 2A, 2D. It's very, very easy to work. And also we can filter by clips, and we can see by our notes what shots we're working on. And then we can also filter it down, so we can find all the 101 1B shots in the timeline, or just scene 101, say, and let's say that they all will contain the same color correction. Well, now we can just select those shots, and then, or I could select, say, that shot there and apply a color correction to that, and then I can copy and paste that to all of the other scene 101s. So anyways, there's a couple tips for you. I hope that helps, and I hope that it wasn't, again, too complicated. Be sure to comment and like the video below. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you taking a chance to listen to this. You can also contact me at michael@garbershop.com. My website is garbershop.com, and my Twitter handle is @garbershop. See you later.